Now that we've got our basic shape of our map annotation, let's build the map annotation view where we're going to have, the badge, the image, the name underneath. So to do that, in map annotation folder, right click, new file. This is going to be a Swift UI view. Hit next. We'll call this DDG annotation. Hit create. We'll get the preview up and running because we will be using that against my better judgment. I have a love-hate relationship with previews. So here we have our DDG annotation. Let's pull up the design and let me walk through what we're going to build here. So as you see, we have our basic map balloon shape that we talked about. So we're going to need a Z stack somewhere because we're going to put the image on top of that shape, kind of in our little space that we created to put it there. But we're also going to need a V stack because as you can see on the bottom, we have the name of the location below our map pin. Okay, so let's go back to building it. The first thing I'm going to do is the V stack of the map balloon shape and the name. Okay, so not text, we want a V stack. At the top of the V stack, we want map balloon, right? Okay, of course, there you go. We got our map balloon. It fills up the whole thing. That's not what we want, right? So let's give it the frame. And in our case, again, this took some dialing in. I'm going to do 100 by 70, right? That took some dialing in. And we'll come to that in a second. A lot of the dialing in came from making sure my circle image of our location looked good in the pin, right? So the amount of squishiness that I squished it down was a result of how that image looked. And of course, the foreground color, right, is .brand primary. Okay, so the next element in our V stack, right, is the text, which for now we're going to put in just dummy data. What is it, Sean's bar. Actually, I'm just going to put, because that is the actual dummy data that will show up. So I'll just put test location, right? And then we're going to make this a font of .caption, not call out, caption. And then we'll do .font weight, semi bold. And there you go in our preview, you can see it. And I know it's a little small in our preview, but we want this view to be small because, it's on our map, right? As you see on the design, we don't want giant map balloons. So that's the other thing I had to dial in when I was dialing in the frame of the map balloon was like, okay, I don't want it to be too big on the map, but I also want it to be big enough that it stands out and you can, kind of see the image at least that's in there. So it looks small on here, but again, when you have 8 map pins on the screen, it looks fine. Okay, so that's the overall V stack. But like I said, I want a Z stack because I want to put an image on top of our map balloon pin, right? So we'll do a Z stack here, and I'll put my map balloon in there. And then now on top of the Z stack, I want an image, right? So let me scroll up here so my face doesn't block it. So we'll do image, and again, it's from UI image. And again, we're putting in dummy data right now. We will eventually pass in a location and do all the proper stuff. But again, we have placeholder image, square. Wow, not what we want, right? So of course, resizable. Hopefully this is review. Okay, still not what we want. Let's give it the frame of 40 by 40. And again, the 40 by 40 was me dialing it in to make it, fit within our map balloon. Like I said, this view took a lot of tweaking, and we're kind of bypassing all that tweaking by giving you the numbers. But I do want to point out, I just didn't magically know these numbers. I had to tweak it and dial it in. So now we want clip shape circle. Remember I said we use this. We're using a shape. Just like I mentioned before. So again, circle is the default, hit return, there we go. But if you look here, it's kind of down. So how do we move it up? Offset, negative offset on the Y coordinate, not the X coordinate. So we'll do .offset, X and Y. See, it moved it over there because we're doing the X. That's not what we want. We'll see the offset on the X and Y when we do the badge here in a second. But just for the image, I want offset negative 11. And like I said, I dialed that in. So if I move my little red square, you can see that's what I dialed in to get it to look like. And now you can see why I squished it, as much as I did, and why I moved the image there, why I chose 40 by 40. Like I said, a lot of dialing it in to get it there. So the next part of our Z stack here is I want the badge. And the badge is just going to be a text, right? And for now, I'm going to do 99 because we'll do the same thing we did before where we just cap it at 99. I don't want this to be able to conform to, 10,000. It's possible to do that. But again, this is, let's solve that problem when we actually have enough users to where more than 100 are checked into one, right? I think it'll take us a while to get up to that scale. Anyway, so text of 99, you can't see it yet, it's there. So let's start formatting this a bit so we can see it. And we'll do a font. And again, this is another case of us hard coding it. So we'll do .system of size and weight. So the size is 11, weight is .bold. And the reason we're hard coding this is because I don't want this to conform to dynamic type. Again, if you look at the design, imagine we have these map pins and then our badge is just ridiculously huge, kind of breaks the UI. Again, like I said, getting your app 100% dynamic type is a very large endeavor because it requires a lot of relaying out of your UI and rebuilding the UI conditionally based on whatever dynamic type it has. Again, that's a huge process. So we're going to kind of pick and choose where we do dynamic type. So this has a frame of 26 by 18. And then I will do a background color or background of color dot grub red, right? That's our badge. Okay, you can start to see it coming in now. And then now we'll do the foreground color of dot white. That's our 99 is white. Okay, you can see it starting to take shape. Speaking of shape, we want to do clip shape of not circle this time. We want to do capsule because that'll kind of make it look more like the badge you see. And I need my initializer here. So let me move that here. You can kind of see the capsule starting to take shape. So now that we have it looking like we want, it's just not in the right spot. So how do we move things around like that? The offset. Except this time we are going to use the X and the Y coordinate of the offset. So we'll do dot offset X and Y. And you see it moved it down to the right a little bit. Well, no, we want it in the upper right-hand corner, just like a badge. So for us, that's going to be an X coordinate of 20, not 10, 20, Sean, 20. So you see that's where it moved it. And now we need to move it on the Y coordinate, and that is negative 28. And again, I know I've said it 1,000 times now. I just dialed that in to get it what I wanted. Again, a case where the previews are actually really helpful, right? You can just kind of tweak the numbers. Like, right, if I had negative 25, that's a little lower than I want. Maybe I want, 28. Cool, move it up there. That's how I dialed it in. Okay, so that's our basic UI, except we're using dummy data, right? We have test location, text of 99, placeholder image. And that's what I always do when I'm building my UI. I don't worry about trying to pass in the real data yet. I just put in some placeholder stuff, get the UI built. But now that we have the UI built, I'm going to move my cursor so that red square isn't blocked so you can admire our beautiful annotation. Now I'm going to work on passing in the actual data. So our DDG annotation is going to take in a location, var location of type DDG location. I'm going to do Command B because our preview is yelling at us, right? We're missing our location parameter. So hit fix. And then here I'm going to initialize a new DDG location from a record. And if you remember, our mock data dot location has a record that we can fill in. So resume. Cool, our preview now has our dummy data location. So now, instead of this placeholder image, right, we can do location dot create square image. And for us, that's still gonna be this placeholder because that's what it is when we don't have an image. But when we download the real data, we'll have our location image in there. Text of 99 will still leave because we haven't done the logic to actually get the count. That is pretty involved because we got to make the network call to get, how many people are checked into each location. That's coming in a future video. So we'll leave that for now. And then test location can change to location dot name, right? And then this should say Sean's Bar and Grill. Cool, so now we're actually using the real location data, again, except for the badge count. And of course, we will also conditionally show this text, right? Like if the count of people checked in is 0, we're not even gonna show the badge. So again, that's all coming in a future video. But we have the basic UI of our custom annotation done, and it's taking in a real location that we pass in. So in the next video, we're gonna work on implementing this on our screen, and we'll also implement that when you tap it, it pulls up a modal of the location detail view. Okay, onward.